do have 4 things that I would use for what I call readiness. Now, when you're teaching a class, you got to, you got the ups and the downs. You got to do something occasionally to break it up, get them back into it, make something exciting. So I call that readiness. This is something that you're going to do exclusively to get the students ready to learn. Here's a couple of examples. At the beginning, I might give a person a blank sheet of paper and give them the authority to fold it into a paper airplane. Then give another person an identical sheet of paper and then have them both throw it and see how far they go. The idea is that the ability to choose is critical to determining how far we fly. So that's the agency that we have. Our Father's given us all the freedom to choose, and I think that's an important point to make, and this is a great way to bring up the topic. Instead of saying, hey, it looks like we're on lesson 4, a lesson about freedom to choose, you can just give somebody a sheet of paper and say, hey, can you make this into a paper airplane? Give somebody else a sheet of paper and just tell them to hold it, and then have them both throw it, and then bring it up. And everybody's kind of drawn into the airplanes. They don't know what you're going to talk about, and then you jump right in. Another one would be reap what you sow. Give somebody a chocolate bar with a piece of soap put in it, or hand out beans and say, what do you think you're going to get if you plant this? Just anything to distract it from the normal, let's read a paragraph, talk about it, read a paragraph, talk about it. That's going to be something to get them ready. So if you hand around a bowl full of beans and have everybody pick one, maybe even hand out assorted beans. Somebody gets a lima bean, somebody gets a pea, and ask them, hey, what's going to grow from that one that you chose? A third one would be to vote on the definition of truth. Now in this lesson, it goes to Doctrine and Covenants section 93, and it talks about truth being a thing, truth being, well, let me read it, that's safest. Doctrine and Covenants section 93. And truth is knowledge of things as they are, and as they were, and as they are to come. So that's the definition of truth. So we get in section 93 the definition of truth. A knowledge of things as they are, as they were, and as they are to come. I would write that on the board and then just draw a line down, write it in the board all the way across the top, draw a line down the middle, have yes or no, or true or false, and just have everybody stand up and with the piece of chalk put their initials on one side or the other. You're going to get both. If you're worried that someone might be embarrassed because they put their initials on the wrong side, maybe another way to ask a similar question discussing this would be, ask a question like, what is the only way that Satan can steal truth from you? Use your scriptures. From that same section of the Doctrine and Covenants, they're going to, or they can come up with, it's Doctrine and Covenants section 93 verse 39, which reads, and that wicked one cometh and taketh away light and truth through disobedience from the children of men, because of the traditions of their fathers. So we have the idea that Satan is able, when we're not obedient, to steal truth from us. That's knowledge of things as they are. That's one of the ways that when we choose poorly, we go down to captivity and to death. Satan steals truth. When we make a bad choice and are disobedient, then we lose the ability to be able to make that choice in the future. He steals truth from us. And I think that's an important point to make for him. There's a couple other very relevant scriptures. You got Alma 13:28 that's in there that talks about, we always hear, oh, you won't be tempted above that which you're able to bear. Alma 13 makes it crystal clear that that's not true, or it is true only if we're saying our prayers. So pray always that we won't be tempted above that which we're able to bear. And I think that's an important point here. If we're doing the right things, the temptation won't be too great. But if we let ourselves, go down and by living decadently, we're not going to be able to have the power that we need to resist. Lastly, for my application, I like to have my application written down. You're going to see over the next couple weeks that I'm a big write down your application, follow up with it with the spouse or with a brother or sister or with a parent, whatever you've got. But this one's tough. I would go specifically into what choices did I make in the last week where I gave up freedom. And I'd have them list them. If they can accurately analyze their life and admit, even if just to themselves, that they're giving away their ability to choose, they're giving away power, like all the people in those examples, they're giving their power away that's impeding them later from keeping the commandments the way that they should. If they can identify the root cause, the first place where they give away the power, they'll be much more likely to be able to follow Christ. So I'd first have them write down a couple, 2 or 3 from the last week, examples where they gave up power. And you'll get things like oversleeping, overeating, listening to the wrong kind of music, whatever it is, but those things that prepare us to not be able to choose as well as we should. So I'd have them write down some specifics. Then pick a choice, at least one, no more than 3, that's coming up this week, where they will gain freedom by choosing righteously. This one's going to be a little bit tougher because you're not exactly sure what's coming, except you know that when a certain song comes on the radio, you can choose to turn that one off. Or you know that every day you're going to go to bed at 9 o'clock. The examples for application, they need to be very specific. Tuesday night, I will be in bed before 9. This Friday night, which is hard for all of us, I'm going to be in bed by 9:30. And if we make those kinds of choices, we gain freedom. Because Saturday comes and we're going to be much freer to be able to wake up and read our scriptures, which will enable us to be ready to give the answer when a son or daughter or a friend asks a question and needs a heartfelt answer. We're going to recognize that because we've got the Holy Ghost with us, because we're rested, and because we had time to study and clean and get everything ready for the Sabbath. Those are my recommendations for this week. I did want to get some feedback from you. Tell me what it is that you want in these. If you'd like more doctrine, if you'd like more application, if you'd like more readiness ideas, I'll be happy to switch it up. Just let me know. That's lesson 4, freedom to choose.